Wait, you can hear that? Okay, because you can. What's up, everybody? We still got the Groovecast intro going on, and they can't hear you yet because I gotta switch to the next scene. This technology stuff, man. All right. Here we go. We are here on air. I got a new background. Check it out. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Noah's Groovecast. This is episode number 18. I'm really excited today to have Nathan Douglas. He's Skyping in. He's digitally appearing all the way from Seal Beach, California, which is amazing and insane. I mean, I don't know. I know I probably sound like really old school or something like that, or I don't sound like the new kids as cool or something, but I still just can't get over that tech. It's just insane. It's like the fact that you can recreate your image, ship it instantly, more or less, to anywhere, like specific anyway. We won't get into all of it, but it's crazy. And Nathan's with us. I don't think I have a whole lot to say off the top in terms of like just general updates. Got some gigs coming up. Pickers Hullabaloo. I'm going to be playing at Firefly Distillery on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12. So come on out to that. James Island Charleston Sports Pub on Thursday. Friday, the City Market downtown. If you want to be if you're a musician in Charleston and you're interested in coming on this podcast, get in touch with me. If any of the folks that I know, just reach out to me. We can talk about it. Got some openings to record. I don't think I have a whole lot else to say. I do want to say this. I just signed up for a marathon. I've never done a marathon before in my life, and I hate running. So Nathan's shaking his head. I just thought, sometimes you got to do things that you hate because, all right. I think sometimes you got to do things you hate. And so I hate running. I've tried to do it in the past, but I always got to be chasing a ball. I'm like a dog. I got to be chasing a ball, man. It's just the way it is. If there's a ball, I will chase that ball forever. I mean, it's insane. But if you just want to have me run, I can't do it. But so the marathon is going to be in Kiowa in December. And so I've got 4 months or so, 4.5 months to train for it. Shout out to Dan Riley for posting about it. He posted about it. He was saying, looking for other people to join him. And so if I wouldn't have seen that, I wouldn't have done it. And so honestly, I don't feel like I'm going to be able to do it. But, we'll see. Maybe I can get together with Dan and run. And on the subject of Dan Riley, or mentioning Dan Riley, shout out to Edisto Blackwater Boogie. Knowing the Space Ark is going to be playing the Boogie October, and I'm blanking on the dates. It's October 9th, I think. No, October 7th. I think we're October 7th. But you can see it on our calendar. We're really looking forward to that. For those of you that don't know, Edisto Blackwater Boogie, it's a 3-day festival in the Give Hens Ferry State Park. You can camp out, whole bunch of bands playing. They've got these great, awesome stages and different booths and food trucks, and it's really, really awesome. So come check it out. Without any further ado, we're going to try to switch this tech over and get Nathan on the screen. So let's hope this goes. Crossing the fingers. Boom! It is working. Yes. What up, Nathan? What's up?
I'll be here.
All right. What's up, everybody? This is Nathan Douglas. I think anybody that's been following me, I think you've either seen Nathan before, if you heard his name mentioned. Maybe you already know him, but for those of you that don't know him, he's currently based out of Seal Beach, and I think he's going to be there for a while. I think he's planning to be there
until they kick me out, man. They're gonna drag me out of this place. It's paradise.
Yeah. So Nathan is a songwriter, and that's what I would say first and foremost. You're a songwriter. But I was leaning back in my chair and stomping down on a cable, which would not be good. But I would say he's first and foremost a songwriter. And I think that's kind of what got you going. Was your main drive? It was writing songs, but that's led him to be quite the hell of, or quite a performer. And you've done a whole lot of performance. The songwriting kind of led you into that. You started doing the open mics, and then you've done a whole bunch of busking. You've done some gigging. You've worked with a variety of different musicians in many different performance capacities. And anyway, it's okay. How many songs? Let's start with this. How many songs do you think you've written?
I've written well over 1,000, but that doesn't mean a damn thing because 95% of them were terrible. I throw away a lot of songs, but that's okay. I mean, I think that's part of the process, and you have to be your own editor, and you have to be honest with yourself, and you have to be able to say, this just doesn't measure up. And in my case, I think like 1 out of 10 songs that I write survive the first test, which is done weeks or months later. You always need to give some distance to what you've written before you look at it critically, really. But yeah, at some point I realized that the overwhelming majority of songs that I write just suck. I mean, they're horrible, and I'd be the first to admit it.
I think.
But what's left, I think I got a pretty good group of songs. We're going to talk about some of those today, hopefully.
Yeah. So, I think you're. I think he's. I think he's selling himself short a little bit. I think he's doing a new exercise in humility. So
I gotta set the bar real low for these folks, man.
Well, so okay. I think anytime. Do you think you write a song a day usually, or
yeah? Lately I've been averaging a song a day, but that means it'd be 2 or 3 days, not necessarily in a row, where I don't write a song at all. But there'd be some songs. I write a lot of songs out of dreams. I'll wake up and I'll have a piece of a song left. And then I'll get up at 2:30 in the morning and I'll go to the piano and I'll find the basic melody, and then I'll build it on out from wherever it was, whether I started with a verse or a chorus, add the chords and write everything I needed otherwise. And I always try to add a bridge. And then, I end up with, by what, if I get up at 2:30 in the morning and I'm up there, I'm probably by 3:15, I got a song. So it takes me about 30 minutes to 45 minutes to write a song. I'm not particularly proud of that fact. I know a lot of people struggle with writing and it takes them a very long time. But there are people who do write songs that quickly, and, professional, successful people. So I think it's on a spectrum, and I'm on that end of the spectrum. I'm a pretty prolific writer and I'm a quick writer. And I live with the results. I don't try to be anything more than I am. There's certain genres I can't write. There's certain kinds of songs I can't write, and I don't try to write them.
You do write a lot of genres, though.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. It's what the song dictates that, right? When you hear a song, my songs, I don't really sit down and say I'm going to write a song. The songs come to me from wherever they come. That's the muse, right? I mean, and that's a mystery, and I'm not going to worry about where it comes from. But when it comes to me, my job is to externalize it.
Okay. So what are some of your favorite genres to write in, or do you even process it that way? And it's just if it comes in, you write it.
I don't. I mean, I know what I'd like to be able to write, but I can't write. I mean, you want to talk about it that way. I like R&B. I grew up on R&B, particularly Motown and Stax Records. And I just don't think I could write an R&B ballad. I'm sure some of the songs I've written that are ballads could be turned into R&B, but it would take like an R&B arranger to do that, because I don't really have a good feel for what needs to be done to a song to make it sound more R&B. Funk, I have a pretty good feel for funk, and we've actually done. You worked with me on a funky kind of song.
One.
Yeah, it was about James Brown, Brother One, or Soul Brother Number One, but we called him Brother One. So yeah, I got a pretty good feel for funk, but R&B escapes me. I do country, don't do bluegrass, can't stand bluegrass. Sorry to offend anybody there in the Southeast, but bluegrass doesn't move me. I don't like folk, but maybe something I've written could be kind of done to a folk. So I stick. I'm on my tracks, and I'm comfortable with that because there's an infinite number of songs anybody can write in any particular genre. Right? I mean, it's unlimited. You sit down at a keyboard, and you just start playing around with those notes, and all of a sudden there's a melody, and then like we've talked about otherwise, lyrics come very quickly to me. So once I hear a melody, I'll find lyrics very quickly, and all of a sudden you build it out to become a song.
I think one way that I've thought about it was through I've got a little bug that's being attracted to the light. Anyway, it's flying around my face. So if you see me
Write a song about that,
there you
man.
go. Yeah.
There already is a song, "Blinded by the Light." That's that
Revved
bug,
up
man.
like
He's
a deuce.
blinded by the light.
What is it? I always heard
Revved
revved up
up
like
like
a
a
deuce. Is that what it?
in the middle of the night.
I don't know. Okay, so yeah, working with you in particular, and for everybody out there, working with Nathan is what really opened my mind to lots of different genres, and I think understanding deeper what a genre was or what a genre is, because I think it's actually part of my whole journey in music, or why I even kind of got into it, was to dispel the mysticism about it, from at least for myself.
No, you're right. I've got a note to self
Yeah,
that we wrote when we
yeah.
were having a conversation a few months ago. I said, debunk
Debunk,
the mysticism,
debunk
because
mysticism.
writing a song, it's sort of mystical, but bottom line is it's pretty pragmatic when you get down to it.
I think I think that's probably true. I don't know. Like there's what it like rides the line, right? There's something.
It
The
is.
magic part is the person. It's not the song, really, right? It's like, I
Right.
mean, if you create the song is like a structure, I guess, right? The song that if you create an incredible structure, it's sort of a framework for many people to be able to express the magic of who they are, and they can kind of color
Yes.
that all. They let their
Yes.
personality color that framework, and that's kind of even the way I would think of like genres is they're just different. Like I don't know if the word's tapestries, but like if you got a framework and you laid cloth over it, this metaphor is great, but the cloth would give a certain
I can't
color.
help you, brother. You're digging that
the
hole deeper and
the
deeper.
cloth would
Keep
the
going.
cloth gives a certain color, maybe it gives a certain texture or a certain look or a glow or whatever it is. And I think those are the different instrumentations that you lay over like a 4/4 time or a downbeat or whatever it is. When you use like an organ just chopping in, and on the upbeat or the downbeat, whatever it is, then you get that reggae feel. But
Yes.
if you change it to some like a guitar with more drive, then you're going more like, I guess, ska, or not ska, but like maybe it's kind of, I still don't.
I'll give
Yeah,
you an old school
yeah,
example of what you're talking about, and basically you're almost talking about arranging now. But Chuck Berry's signature song is "Johnny Be Good," right?
yeah.
So Johnny Be Good is like stereotypically Chuck Berry, and I think most people know that song. But Peter Tosh, who was with Bob Marley and the Wailers, right? Peter Tosh did a cover of that, and it's reggae, and it doesn't sound anything like the original Johnny B. Good. I mean, it's the same song, the same
Yeah,
lyrics, same
yeah,
melody, but because it has what you just said, it's got that reggae feel. He pushed it into the reggae genre, and for my money,
yeah.
Peter Tosh's version of Johnny B.
Okay,
Good is better than Chuck
I gotta check
Berry's.
that out.
I love it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a terrific. It was back in whenever the 70s or whatever it came out, but anybody want to check that out to compare those two to kind of bring home that point you're talking about? Yeah, you can take a one genre and make it into another genre. And there's probably examples of that with country songs going either way, where somebody took an original pop hit, made it into a country hit, or vice versa. Probably more so vice versa.
I've got an example with one of my own songs. I wrote a song called "Beautiful Frankenstein" that I think you know,
Yes.
and that is when I wrote it. It's an acoustic waltz,
Right.
maybe kind of like a ballad kind of waltz. It's very haunting and dramatic. But
Right.
I started playing it with Lou Gonzalez, the guy that I'm working with. That's a drummer in my band, Knowing the Space Arc. And when we first ever played that song together, he comes from a metal background. He was a drummer in
Okay.
metal bands like
Right.
basically his whole life. And so he really
He said,
brought
let's speed
the
this thing
rock.
up, man.
Well, we kept it. We actually kept the tempo pretty
Oh, you kept the
we kept the
tempo the
tempo kind of
same.
the same,
Oh,
but we just went really big with the drums, and you realize
yeah.
it can be really one of these epic metal anthems. It really works.
Gotcha.
And
Gotcha.
I've seen some stage performances of these kind of anthem metal players,
Yes.
and that would be perfect. It would be insane to see that song played like that. Well, let's go. Let's
Let me give you
yeah,
another quick example,
sure.
okay? You can swing the Star Spangled. I like to swing, first of
Yeah.
all. You know, Robbie, you may talk about him later, but our experiences, joint experiences with Robbie Ravenwood, who's a jazz, old school jazz standard aficionado. And so Robbie likes to swing everything. And so I was thinking one day, you could swing the Star Spangled
Hmm.
Banner. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what's a proudly we hail by the twilight's last gleaming whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And I'll spare you the rest. But, you know, it's a totally different feel, same song, same melody. But for me, I mean, I kind of like
Oh,
that. And I've sung that a couple of times, you know, a cappella at open mics.
nice.
And, you know, nobody stands up. They're supposed to
Oh,
stand up. I don't know.
man, I played that. I played that at my on the 4th of July
Uh,
after a long day or whatever of doing some gigs. Then I set my speaker up. They were shooting fireworks off, and they shoot fireworks off every year. So I was
yeah,
like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna
yeah,
do my patriotic duty. You know, my citizen's duty,
good.
and this is what I do. I'm a musician, so you know, maybe I'm not the best at singing the national anthem, but at least I'll accompany it with their you know, and show some spirit, some American spirit, you know. And I played it. I played three patriotic songs. I think "America the Beautiful,"
Right.
um,
Yes, yes.
"God Bless the USA," and then the Star Spangled Banner. They completely ignored me. Like I had one at the very end of the Star Spangled Banner. They gave like this really half-assed applause, and I was just like, okay, yeah, that wasn't right.
How old
That
are
wasn't
these
right.
people?
I think they're like it was a bunch of families. Like there's some kids, and they're probably anywhere from like 8 to like 50, I would say, somewhere in that range. Yeah,
I'll tell you a quick
yeah.
funny story about just this thing. It's the other end of the spectrum. I go to a karaoke over in Bellflower, and it's at a lodge. They call themselves the Eagles, right? I think they're all across the country, Eagles Lodge. So there might be some Eagles people in your audience, but anyway, and much respect to the Eagles. They're good people. But they start their karaoke by singing "God Bless the USA," the
Mm,
Lee
yeah.
Greenwood song, right? It's the one you're singing, right? Yeah, yeah. And everybody in that place gets up and stands up, puts their hands over their heart, takes off their hat.
Yeah.
You know, when I first went there, I forgot to take off my hat, and I realized they were all looking at me. And then I figured, oh, I got to have my hat off. But that's their Star Spangled
Yeah.
Banner, man. You better,
Yeah.
conform when you get in there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't know.
they should have stood up and they should have applauded loudly because our country's a great country in spite of its
Yeah.
flaws.
And yeah, you just hear that song. Yeah. I don't know. Well,
All right,
yeah. Let's. So I had some segue on there, but let's jump into this. Let's ask you this question. This is kind of like completely jumping subjects here, but
sure.
this thought came to me. I just wanted to ask it. It's look, I met Nathan in Long Beach, California, and this is kind of when you really, you know, correct me if I'm wrong. This is when you really dove into being a songwriter, like really full time and
Yes.
every. And so you were doing this in Long Beach for years. You did a whole bunch of different you were participating in a whole bunch of different events. You did a whole bunch of street performing, busking, and with Robbie Ravenwood, but then eventually you left California. You went to the East Coast. You were there for like a year, and then you've come back, and now you're in Seal Beach. And I was just curious, is it different? Like, did that help? Did that do you have a different mindset at all with your songwriting and your performing? No, not at
Not at
all. Okay,
all. It was like I never
okay,
left. I picked up right where I left off, and I've done 200 performances since I got back the end of
okay.
January. So that's a little over 6 months, like 6 months and a week, and I've done 205 performances. And that's the beauty of Long Beach in this area we're in. You're very familiar with it. Is there's plenty of places to go perform. So I've done jazz jams with Brandon Baker. And I just sang with a jazz band today at the Senior Center down in Long Beach, sang Misty and, songs like that. And doing open mics down here at Bogarts and Seal Beach and open mics elsewhere. And then gigging with Robbie. I was with him at the Secret Island bar down in Long Beach on Thursday night. So there's just been so many opportunities. And the comparison is in the 13 months I was living back east, I did 51 performances, and then the 6 months I've been here, I've done 200. So I mean, you can do the math. So I'm where I belong. I went back for family reasons. We can talk about that if you want to, but otherwise, yeah, I decided that I belonged here, not there.
So let's talk about performance a little bit. And so,
Sure,
what was it like? What would you? Maybe you could just talk a little bit about what it's been like developing as a performer or evolving as a
sure.
performer, and maybe what it was like at the very beginning. Was it anxiety? Did it bring you a lot of anxiety? Was it tough? And maybe also just talk about what drives you to perform or why.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Let me tie it immediately to your marathon challenge
Okay.
because that's what I did when I moved to Long Beach the first, literally January 1st, 2011. I decided that, okay, I've dabbled in this songwriting thing for a long time. I'm going to try to enroll in Long Beach City College because they had a commercial music program at the time and they had a songwriting track. And the only other school I could find online when I was back east right before I retired was the Berklee School of Music in Boston. And Berklee was costing $40,000 a year, and Long Beach City College songwriting program was costing, like under 1,000. So it was a no-brainer. And I had gone to Long Beach City College back in the day, when I was out in California years ago and went through their system and got my degrees to include at UCLA. So I said, I'm going to go to Long Beach City College. I was fortunate that they had an open registration like the week after I got here. And I was able to register for the first class, a songwriting class at Long Beach City College that first semester in 2011. So now I'm in that, I'm going to only take one course for the first year, 2 semesters, 2 courses, because I'm out of state and it's cost a whole lot of money. But, once you've been here a year, man, and I'm paying in-state tuition, it was like dirt cheap. It was great. So now I'm in the program in 2012 and 2013, going full blast, learning all the other stuff you have to learn, the Pro Tools and stuff like that, or trying to learn Pro Tools. Don't get me started on that. But anyway, and I heard about what they called a vocal performance class. And this class at Long Beach City College, I wish it still existed, but they did away with this program in 2013.
That was with Sharon, right? Was that Sharon?
No, that was not with Sharon. That was with a guy named Tom Dustman.
Okay, Tom Dustman.
He's since retired. Yeah, he's pretty famous in the local community out here because he taught Sharon. I mean, he was one of Sharon's instructors. So I heard about the class. So I went to the class, right? I had never performed in public. I had never really sung. And so, and this was only 10 years ago, right? So I'm in this class, and the class was in a recital hall, with tiered seating. So it was like a regular auditorium, and there was at least 60 people in that class. And they had a piano down on the stage area and stage lighting and a PA system. And what you did was you got with the piano player, who is Kevin Carney. He's amazing. Any song, he's ready to go. You can't stump this guy, right? Of course, he sight reads, so you hand him the music and he's still ready to go. So what you had to do in that class is you had to perform, I think it was 9 times over the course of the semester, like once a week or whatever. And so I had to get up in front of this class, and these are all like music majors and singers. I mean, legit singers. And I couldn't sing. I couldn't find the key. And so I got up and I sang things I knew, like King of the Road, stuff like that. And I was pretty loose and pretty bad at first, but I kept getting better, And I took it the next semester, as an enrolled student or whatever. So I progressed. And what happened along the way is I met a lot of people, and I got a lot of feedback. And I did end up with Sharon Giartano down in Long Beach at Gilmore Music as a vocal coach. And she encouraged me to go to open mics. And by then I had my legs under me. And in retrospect, I'll wrap it up by saying what I realized was what Tom Dustman was doing with his vocal performance class. Solo vocal performance is what it was called, at Long Beach City College, was really an open mic, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
because people would get up and they'd sing one song, you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and we'd all applaud, and then he would critique us, you know, and it was like an open mic. So I was already ready for open mic because I had done that. And then I went to open mic at Gilmore first, because Gilmore used to have an open mic there in the store, believe it or not.
7th Street.
And yeah, on 7th Street at Cherry.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, tried some things there and got a little braver. And then I met you. I went over to Sababa's.
Yeah.
Because you know, you hear words. Where's it? Oh, there's an open mic on Tuesday night over here. Oh, there's an open mic on Wednesday night over there.
Yeah.
And at that time, there was, I think, at some point in time, there was at least one open mic every night of the week in the Long Beach area. And so I started going to every one of them. I would go seven nights a week, man. Because I was retired. It's like, yeah, okay, I got nothing else to do. Let me do this. And the more you go, and I would say that to anybody that's out there who you know is at the beginning of this, the only way you get it is if you get on stage and do it. I mean, you got to keep getting on stage, and you will get better and better, and you'll get more and more comfortable. You get more and more confident, and at some point, it's going to be your second home, and you're going to love it, and you're not going to be intimidated by it, and you'll be able to just let everything out. And that's when it's a really nice performance, when you're letting everything out. End of my lecture.
Oh, that was great. Man, I was ready to just keep sitting and listening. So
I got to give you a chance to talk. You're the host.
No.
Well, talk about Sababa's, man. You know, there was a lot of us that were there at Sababa's. You had just come into town. You were sitting at the bar. Eddie Booz was running the show, and Robbie Raven showed up. I think even Gio McCaleb was there, and David Ricks, also known as Buck Fitty. Yeah, so we all met there.
Yeah. And open mics.
I will make a quick statement about open mics, and this is directed to all your open micers, and lo and behold, it's happened to the one you just had, a mic club or whatever that you've decided not to do. Open mics have a life, and in Long Beach, one of them had like a 15-year plus life, right? But some open mics come and they go really quickly. Yeah. So whenever an open mic appears on the scene, go as often as you can, get as much out of as you can, because you never know what's going to happen, right? The venue could go under and the venue could just not exist anymore. Yeah. The owner could get like frustrated because he's not bringing in enough money. Open mic people are notoriously cheap, you know? And so it could disappear for that reason. Or the host can get tired of doing it or has something else they got to do, you know? So yeah, open mics are fleeting things, and some of them will last for years. Some of them will last just for a few months. So take advantage of them while they're there.
Yeah. You can meet a lot of really interesting people through open mics. I think one of the things too that's really cool about open mics is how many really good relationships are built through open mics.
Absolutely.
It really is pretty amazing. And you meet so many unique people. You know, I think sometimes people think that open mics, like you wouldn't go to an open mic if you were looking for musical entertainment. The average, music consumer won't go to an open mic to do that. They'll want to pay.
You're making a big mistake. It's free.
Yeah.
And invariably there are going to be people on that open mic stage that are going to blow your doors off.
And because anybody comes through open mics, like, I mean, I've been doing music now, like almost every day for 8 years, almost every single day. And then I started doing music as a kid, like in 6th grade or something like that. So I've been doing it my whole life. And then the last 8 years, like almost every single day, I've done music to some for like an hour at least or something like that, and I still go through and play open mics. That's not to say like I'm, it's just that like anybody comes through open mics, you meet so many different people that come through. I met some band where the electric guitar player is a blues player, and he had his chops were just, and then of course we know Sean Conroy, who is a guitar player, homeless in California,
right.
Who's just, his chops are great, right? I mean, would you agree?
Yeah, he belongs playing in stadiums. I mean, he's really good. Dennis Lockett, who's a blues player. I was thinking of him as you said that. He played blues guitar on the Shy But Fly demo that I did called Take a Hint. And he kills it, man. He does a lot of creative stuff, beyond what you expect. And yeah, and I met him at an open mic,
Mm.
and he was one of the over 60 plus musicians that I eventually brought in. Most of those demos you worked on with me. Um, and yeah, that's where it's a great source of fellow musicians to play on your records or CDs or play on in your bands. You know, it's a good audition almost, right?
Mm. So what for you, like now that you've been performing for as many years as you have, do you have certain kinds of places that you prefer to perform? Okay, you've done karaoke, you've done busking, you've done open mics, you've done gigs. Are there particular platforms or differences
Last
in the
night
platforms?
I did karaoke
Yeah.
busking,
So yeah,
and
you
I
can
got
talk
to
about
admit that was a lot of fun.
yeah. So talk.
Because we got the tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a laptop that I rented from a guy back east, right? And it's got 40,000 songs on it, so it's a karaoke laptop. And I guess now I'm a KJ, karaoke
Mm,
DJ. KJ is what they
okay.
call them. I'm just sitting down there in downtown here where I live, and I've got the karaoke laptop sitting on my lap, and a powered speaker underneath the bench I'm sitting at. And I'm just telling people, come and sing with me, because I believe in spreading joy through music. That's my philosophy. I'm not in it for money. I'm not in it for a celebrity or a career at this point, because I've already had a career doing something else. But music, I think, should be shared, and I think it should bring joy of some kind. I mean, joy could be sadness,
Mm,
because it's cathartic maybe for somebody
mm,
to hear a
yeah.
sad song.
Yeah.
But basically, music should be shared. And I would backtrack and say that songwriting should be shared. I mean, if you're writing
Mm,
songs, share them with the world somehow, some way, whether it's going to open mics and playing your originals, or whether it's doing, on what is it, SoundCloud and all those other places. Get it out there, because you never know who's going to listen, and you never know how it's going to affect them. So I think that your gift that you're given by the original song you've written is a gift you in turn should give to the public, so to speak.
Let's talk about this karaoke busking, and maybe you can talk a little bit about the busking.
I call it street
Street
karaoke.
karaoke.
I don't
Okay,
have a trademark on that term, but
let's go for
it's
that.
kind of
Street
a new,
karaoke.
it's a cross
I like
hybrid
that.
thing. It's busking with karaoke,
Yeah.
street karaoke. It's cool, man. I mean, if you like karaoke, and I wish I had found karaoke. I didn't find karaoke until 3 years ago, man. And I wish I had known karaoke, back like 2013 or 14, because that would have been a good place for me to go next to hone my skills as a singer. Because I'm not really an instrumentalist. I play a little bit of piano enough to write songs, but I don't. I'm really most comfortable just conveying a song, just singing a song. And that's what karaoke is. And the cool thing about karaoke is the tracks you're singing to are, like, by and large, the original tracks. They may be recreated, but they do it in the style of. And so you got this whole band behind you, in some cases, a big orchestra behind you. And so when you're singing, fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars, and you got that whole orchestra behind you,
Yeah.
and it's pumping out of the speakers, and your voice is now in the mix. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
whoa, I'm on
Yeah.
stage. That's the thrill of karaoke, I think,
Yeah.
particularly for guys who are, and women who are good singers. I
Yeah.
mean, it's the ultimate to be able to hear your voice mixed in. And then for people who are, struggling, or just learning, or maybe they're just drunk and they're going to make a fool out of themselves, karaoke people are very welcoming, you know? And it's not about how good you are. It's not American Idol or something. It's just, are you going to have fun? Again, have fun with music. Let's have fun.
All right.
Let it go.
So on that note, let's. I want to keep pushing in that direction with like talking about the street performing, because you have a lot of experience with that at this point, and
Yes.
with Robbie Ravenwood, and just like through doing street performing. Okay, for anyone that has never done street performing, I think you should do it. It's something everybody should
Yes.
do, because you will definitely find that you will strike out. You will play,
It's
and people will
intimidating.
just walk by you. Yeah, it could be really intimidating. I think eventually you get to a point where you just don't care anymore, and it's just like,
Yeah.
okay, it is what it is.
Can't
That's the
take it
game.
personally.
You can't take it personally, and then you just play and look for the opportunities to connect. And then if people see, because you can't possibly understand why anybody wants to connect with you or not. You try to have as good a time as you can doing the music, and then any opportunities that come along where people connect, then you enjoy it. You can, I mean, you can just fail miserably, and it can be kind of excruciating. I mean, from past experiences, that's the way it's been, and it can be very tough to take just a street and turn it into something where people actually want to engage with you, because many people can be very judgmental as they walk by. And so actually doing something that inspires somebody to connect with you, and or inspires them enough that they want to connect and that they're willing to relax and actually enjoy themselves, I don't think it's an easy thing to do. And when you actually see that happening, it's very special. And so you and Robbie and I got to be part of that for a little while. Did that on a weekend, on a nightly basis. Every weekend, you guys were getting people to do trains, where they'd run around, and people would play a inflatable pig or whatever, and they dance and sing, and they can join you, and it's
well, you're covering a lot of territory.
Yeah.
Let me jump in and say first of all, there's different levels of busking.
Yeah.
I think the fundamental level would be a setup, and this would apply to most of probably your audience who are singer-songwriters, acoustic guitar players. Amp, a mic on a stand, maybe you're standing or you're sitting in a chair, and you plug your guitar into the cube amp and your mic into the cube amp, and you put your tip jar out, and there you go. So you become, the music is now outdoors. And so you're dealing with all of those surroundings, which could be interpreted as distractions. And you've got an audience that's totally mobile. They didn't come down to wherever you are to see you, probably. They just noticed you as they were walking by on their way somewhere else. So the challenge for a busker is, can I stop these people right now and get them to listen to my song? That's level number one, if you can get them to stop. Okay. Now, by the way, you want to get a tip out of them too. We'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah. So can I stop them, right?
Yeah.
And if you can stop them, okay, you're ahead of the game right there. And then if you can get them to show some physical manifestation of your connection, like they're shaking their head, or they're tapping their feet, or hey, they might be even starting to dance a little bit. Yeah. And then if they're also singing, that's song choice. You got to be sure you're picking the right songs. People know, right? That's going to make them stop. Oh, that's my favorite song.
Yeah.
And then for Robbie and me and you, when you were there, we break the fourth wall.
Yeah.
What we'll do is we'll leave that area and engage the audience.
Yeah.
Whether it's to hand them a hand percussion instrument, or whether it's to literally dance with them, or carry over a lyric sheet and sit down next to them and have them sing along with us.
Yeah.
But that's kind of another level of busking, is breaking the fourth wall. So we're not stationary. We're always moving, and we're always looking to interact. So you got to be really comfortable in your own skin to be busking in the first place, and out exposed like that, not framed on a stage in a small club somewhere with only 10 people sipping coffee in front of you. Now you're out on the street, cars are going by, hundreds and hundreds of people are walking by. You're really kind of exposed. And then if they start paying attention to you, you got to hold their attention. And then I'll mention it now, you want to get some money out of their pocket. You want some validation, right? And when they start dropping 5s, 10s, 20s, and occasionally $100 bills, it's like, damn, I must be doing something right.
Yeah. I don't get those hundreds very much. I actually,
no, they're rare.
I've only hit one, I think.
Let me tell you my favorite $100 bill tip story, right? So we're out there doing, there's actually a video of Noah and Robbie and me doing a song called Long Tall Texan. And Noah is playing, of all the instruments in the world, Noah is playing a pizza box. Yeah, you heard me right. He's playing a pizza box as a percussion instrument.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. That video is out there, man.
Okay,
it's cool.
Check that out.
I'll find it and I'll post it on your Facebook page for people to see later.
We played some interesting
and we had never done that song together before, and it was kind of rough around the edges. But what that shows is what it takes to really grab an audience, because we were having a good time. Yeah. Even if people didn't know the song, then walking by, they're thinking, oh, this is cool. This is fun. I'm going to watch this. I'm going to participate or whatever. Yeah. And so that was really cool. Yeah. So anyway, we would play out, and Noah was part of this. We would play out in front of this audience, and the people play out in front of this restaurant. Yeah. We would play in front of a restaurant. We would face the restaurant, so the people in the restaurant behind the windows would see us through the window, but they couldn't hear a thing we were doing.
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So we'd be out there, we'd be playing, we'd be running around, we'd be squeezing pigs and shaking shakers and playing guiros and stuff and giving people instruments to play. We'd have like 30 people all around, playing instruments and singing Weema Wepa, The Lion Sleeps Tonight,
Yeah.
or whatever it might be, what's the other one? Chapel of Love, going to the
Yeah.
chapel. And people like
Yeah.
those
Yeah,
songs,
they
right?
do.
Everybody's singing along. Like I said, you got 30 or 40 people singing along. They got the whole sidewalk blocked,
Yeah.
And so the people inside are watching this, right? They haven't heard anything. They don't know what song we're singing. All they know is it's craziness outside and everybody's having fun and it's musically based.
Yeah.
So we were, doing our thing one night and this guy comes walking out of the restaurant. He hadn't seen us perform before he went in. He didn't see us perform, or hear us perform while he was in there. He walks out. He drops $100 bill in the tip jar and kept on walking. So we got $100 tip off of just the visual.
Yeah.
Just the visual.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. That's pretty cool. So,
yeah, that was good.
That's amazing.
It was
You
amazing.
must have been really entertained just watching.
Yeah, I can imagine what it looks like. Probably like a big giant screen you're looking at, because it's very animated what we would do, right?
Yeah. I think maybe this goes to it too. Like anytime, I'm gonna follow this by playing the first song. We're gonna play a song here,
all right.
and
Cool,
and
man.
I think this will go along with this. But I think
all right.
Anytime, like what we were, I think maybe the core of a lot of it was just we genuinely were having a great time.
Absolutely.
We were having a ton of fun, whether anybody stopped or not. We were just so happy to be playing, and we just loved it. And then if people wanted to join in, it made it better. And I think there's like this is gonna get a little heavy, a little deep, but I think like a lot of times you can get kind of bitter about your life or whatever. And I think with musicians too, like if things aren't going the way that you wish they were going, or you don't feel like you're making as much money as you should, or life's too hard, or all these kind of things. Like, I just think there's no guarantees in life. You might not ever make what you think you're going to make or what you think you deserve. Your life might end up being a lot shorter than you think it's going to be. And I think you have to be happy with what you got and be thankful for it and have fun. And because at least in that moment, because that's when those moments, it's like it goes hand in hand. It's like those moments that you create for other people, it literally made their life better. And
absolutely,
and like if you hadn't done that, their life like. And it's the butterfly effect. I mean, I'm not saying like you make.
No, it is. You're right. It is.
It is the butterfly effect. And the more that people just, take initiative to do things that make life better and more joyful, the more positive everyone's going to be, and it spreads. And it's not like one little butterfly is going to change the world, but like everyone doing it, it has an impact.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll interject real quick. Yeah. This is the smartphone age, so everybody's got a video camera on their phone, right?
That's a good point.
And and a lot of people will shoot video of you, and particularly in a tourist town like I'm in, and that they're going home to Minnesota and replaying that song they recorded, maybe even with them singing and performing during it, and saying, "I had so much fun when I was there. Look what we did."
Yeah.
So it just keeps giving and giving and giving. But you're right, and this applies not just for street performers, but also for all your audience that are performers on stage. Fun, energy is contagious.
It is. It's contagious.
And if you put it out, it's probably going to come back. If it doesn't come back, don't let that stop you.
Yeah.
You got to put it out. That's your obligation. You have got to just put out a whole lot more than you may think you have to.
Yeah.
But you owe the audience that. You owe the audience 110%, right?
Yeah. The inverse can also be contagious. So like I think it's a very common thing with a lot of songwriters. I think a lot of people get into writing songs or performing because they want to express their sadness. They have these feelings, and they're
you can do that too much, man.
You can do too much. But it's hard. Like for songwriters, there was a time where I felt like I was more in that camp, and like people want you to be upbeat, but it's like you don't feel upbeat. So how can you be upbeat? It's like you feel down and you're focused.
Well, you wrote a song. That's how you broke out of that, man. Get on the upbeat. It's like you challenge yourself.
Yeah, and then also,
it's a great song, man. It's a great song.
Also, you can just challenge yourself to do it anyway, and even if you don't feel it, just do it anyway. And what I've found is that people can't really tell the difference. I don't know if that's. I mean, they can't. Very many times, if you just go there anyway, even if you don't feel it, and you just give 110%, people will give you the benefit of the doubt, or they get into it. At least they're inspired by that in some way, and then you get there. It like builds, and then you get there, and you get to a really good place, and then you can be. Then all of a sudden, you got people that are happy that you're there, and then you're like, oh, that makes me happy, and then, it can build. But I would just want to say, like, to any songwriters that like you get in this sort of rut where you're kind of depressed about life. You got all these negative songs like about expressing, that feeling that you have that you feel defines who you are. Well, it's not who you are, because when you walk down the street and the sun feels great, you're probably smiling. Like, like there's
write a song about that.
Write a song about that, and then just put the other thing aside for a little bit and just do that, and make that more of what you're doing as a performance. And when you just focus on those things and you focus on the good things, because at the end they can't control everything. And it's like this is a crazy mess of just tons of different stuff going on and interactions that you can't possibly control. So be grateful you got a functioning body. You can play some music. Yeah. You got some people that are there to listen to you, and then spread that joy. Like,
you're also touching on something else. You're talking on set list. You're talking about set list and song choice. Yeah, if you're a songwriter that only writes depressing ballads, down-tempo ballads, it's like, okay, you got 10 of those. What else you got? You got nothing else? Well, then you need to interject in that set list some up-tempo other stuff that maybe are covers. Ain't nothing wrong with playing covers, You can make a living playing covers, right? Not right, Noah?
Yeah, I love covers.
I love covers too.
And that's a whole other thing. I mean, I used to be kind of prejudiced against it because people said to play your own original music, but I just find anything you're playing is an expression of yourself. So I think it's original expression of yourself, even if it's a cover. Like, the cover's a framework, it's great, but it's like it's an expression of yourself. Yeah.
Number one, if you're going to do a cover, and this is a whole nother subject matter. I mean, we could talk an hour on this, Noah, but there's a lot of people down here where I am that go to an open mic, and when they do a cover, they approach it as, how can I sound exactly like the original?
Yeah. I've seen that. Yeah.
And so those people will criticize you afterwards if you do a cover and you don't try to sound just like the original. Oh, that's not the chord that they used at the beginning of the chorus. Oh, that's not the way the phrasing is. Or, they'll start nitpicking. But what I tell them is like, a cover, when you do a cover, it's your interpretation of an original. And the first thing you need to do is decide, what's my arrangement? First decision, what's the tempo going to be? What's the feel going to be? What's the key going to be? How am I going to structure it? Am I going to structure it the same way it's always been done, or am I going to mix it up a little bit? And to me, that's the fun thing about doing a cover, not trying to sound exactly like the original artist, but saying, this is my version of this. And because I'm doing it, my version, I feel it, and that puts a whole new spin on the song. And I think that gives the song a new life. And that's what an artist should do, not just mimic somebody.
All right, we're going to play a song. It's a video. I'm going to do You Know My Name. And I should also mention, I think this is a good one to start with, because what I want to lead into is that you're very a lot of what you do is very theatrical.
Yes.
And I think a lot of how you write songs and all that, it
Yes.
comes from a theatrical standpoint.
It does.
This song kind of highlights that pretty well.
It could be in a play.
Yeah.
A play about, well, you'll figure out who it's about.
But I also want to say off at the front of this, the technology that I've got, I haven't quite figured out how to put this audio that we're about to play also into Nathan's headphones, so he's not going to be able to hear it. And that's going to be the same for other songs that we play after, and particularly when we're playing the MP3s. He's just going to be smiling at you there. So, but he's not going to be able to hear the music. So, yeah. So if he's not snapping on tempo, that's what it is.
I'll be doing my Carlton dance.
He'll try to mime, summon his inner mime, and somehow connect. All right, so let's do this thing. Let's.
All right, let's do it.
There we go.
All right.
Hey everybody, I'm Nate, here with Robbie, and we're gonna do a brand new song that I wrote for you called You Know My Name. And you have to guess who this song is all about. Well, I'm no good and you should be very wary of me. I'm no good and I could be a bad influence on you. I'm a cad, I'm so bad that the Bible warns against me. It's the truth, I'm uncouth and you should avoid me if you're able. Call me what you choose. Play with me, you lose. Yeah, I will bring the blues to use. Follow all my clues. Well, I'm no saint, so I can't be what you hope I could be. I'm a thief, I'll steal everything you have to offer. I'm so bad that I lie. I don't care what's right or wrong. Yeah, it's the truth, I'm uncouth, and you should avoid me if you're able. What's in a name? What's in a myth? Maybe you should pretend that I don't exist. Yeah, right. Don't take that chance. You'll end up in my dance. Woo, you'll end up in my dance. 'Cause I'm no good and you should be very wary of me. I'm no good and I could be a bad influence on ya. I'm a cad, I'm so bad that the Bible warns against me. It's the truth, I'm uncouth and you should avoid me if you're able. Call me what you choose. Play with me, you lose. I will bring the blues to use. Follow all my clues. Follow all my clues. I will make you lose. I will make you lose. Yeah. Yeah, come and check me out at nathandouglasgo.com. I'll be there waiting for you. Thanks, Rob.
Thank you, sir.
Cool. So that's
Cool, man.
my name.
Yeah, you want to talk about the song?
Yeah, off the top, I just wanted to throw out, one thing that you do a lot of, and that brought a ton to the street performing, is the ad libs, and like
Yes, I like ad-libbing a
one
lot.
that
It's
just did
my style. Yeah.
was the you'll end up in my dance. Oh, it's like, yeah. It's like it's.
It feels good, but don't do it. Get away from him.
That was a phenomenal ad lib because it's like, and I don't know that that's so easy to do because you got to be going a lot of places quick in your mind. I mean, maybe it comes naturally to you.
Yes, you do. You got to be outside your body, and that's a very dangerous thing to do because you could stay out there and lose something on the way. Yeah, it's hard to. It takes a lot of practice. Yeah.
There were a number of different songs we would do busking where you would do different ad libs that.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. What yeah, we could talk about the song and what motivated you to write the song. What's it about? You said
Yeah, I don't want to get too heavy because it's a light song and it's supposed to be cute, and I think it's obviously about the devil, right? I'm wearing the red tie and everything. Right? And my philosophy, I come from a Christian religion, and I'm basically a Christian. I'm not a practicing Christian, but I believe a lot of what is the doctrine, and I believe there is a devil. I mean, I might have just lost some of your audience by saying that, but I believe there is a devil. I think I've run into the devil at least once in my life, and that song is about you can fool yourself into thinking, all you atheists out there, that there is no devil. But I think the devil exists, whether it's a physical thing or whether it's some kind of presence in the universe. And therefore, there is evil. And you always have to have your guard up because you never know who you're dealing with sometimes until it's too late. There are evil people out there, obviously, out there. Obviously, there are people who will do you physical harm or financial harm or otherwise, but they're just evil people who like being evil. And they'll take advantage of somebody who is naive and vulnerable. And that song is really about, you better be careful because, I'm making you laugh at me right now, but you know what? I'm a bad news guy. You better stay away from me.
there was a word. I feel like evil is very sneaky. It can come in all
Yes.
sorts of different forms, and it's very smart too. It's not. It doesn't. I think sometimes people think evil is just so plain or matter of fact,
Right.
but it is sharp and brilliant and
Yeah.
conniving and yeah. So,
Yes.
but yeah, I've got two sort of posters that I made, like artworks
Yeah.
that have the seven heavenly virtues and also the seven deadly sins.
Yeah.
I think it goes to what you're saying.
Yes.
I, I, I don't know if I exactly believe in the devil, but I don't know. I would say I'm still pretty open to either. But what I do think is, for me, what I think is real is spirits. I believe in spirits. And I think like
Okay.
essentially you can embody the spirits. I don't claim to know whether the devil exists or not, but I do think spirits exist in the sense that I understand that is like you can choose what spirit lives within you, and you can
Good.
allow those spirits to express themselves. But I think so many times we think so highly of ourselves and we have these intellectual ideas, but really underneath it all, what's driving you? What's the motivation, and what are
Yeah.
you really allowing yourself to be committed to, and allowing to guide your choices and your actions? Because there are
Good.
consequences to letting good spirits be what guides you. Because, well, bad spirits don't like good spirits too much, and they want to take those out to and do so in different ways. So there's a lot. There can be a
Right.
lot of
They're not your
yeah. There
friend.
can be a lot of suffering and
They may pretend to be your friend, but you better be
so
careful. All right.
let's talk about the theatrical aspect to it.
Sure.
Like um, I guess yeah, like yeah,
Let's talk about it in terms of maybe a typical audience member for you, on this podcast and maybe even beyond, because there's a style or a genre, singer songwriter genre, right? And so I think, because I've been to a lot of open mics, 1,500 probably by now, going up on 2,000 next. And I enjoy open mics, but I see a lot of behavior repeated at open mics. And I think that there's a mistake made by a lot of singer songwriters that they have to conform to a singer songwriter
yeah,
image, which is to
yeah,
say,
yeah,
what am I going to wear? And they all tend to wear
yeah,
similar things, whether they're males or females. There's almost like a
yeah, yeah, yeah,
uniform. It's real casual, but still it's kind of
yeah,
predictable, right? And then they try to sound like other singer songwriters, right? And there's nothing wrong with that when you're starting out, because you got to figure out, who am I, and particularly if I'm writing songs, how do I find my own muse and start to write really original songs, not a knockoff version of a popular song. And then how do I try to sound like, this is another difficult thing, I think, for artists, performers in general, is finding your own voice. I mean, voice is not only a physical thing coming out of your throat, it's also song choices, songs you've written, how you present them. And I think a lot of singer songwriters are afraid to, first of all, move their body,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
And then they're also afraid to like fully engage the audience. So I'm performing for you. So you sit there, I sit here, we got this distance, and it's going to have to stay constant because this is the way it's defined, and it doesn't have to be that way, especially with the new technology where you've got, transmitters and receivers you plug into your guitar, and
yeah,
wireless microphones, including headsets. You don't have to sit on a stool if you're a singer songwriter and sing your song, particularly if it's, like Get on the Upbeat, your song. You don't have to sit and sing that. You could actually get up and start
yeah,
moving, So I think it's cool if singer songwriters start exploring stage moves,
yeah,
is what I'll call them. And then they also start exploring some of this other banter with the audience. And then, as you were saying, ad libs during a song. And, don't take yourself too
right. I think
seriously.
that's a big. Don't take
There's
yourself too
usually a
seriously.
room between one line and the next line to say something, like an aside.
Yeah,
And I like to do that. I'm not saying everybody should do that, but you can really reaffirm your connection with an audience if you make a little joke about your own song in the middle of your own song. And it's cool to do that,
mm.
Maybe you just say something like, and you say, I can't believe I wrote this. But and it's like, oh, the audience, like, oh, that's cool. It's sort of like breaking the fourth wall. It's breaking the structure of the song, to make a little aside or a comment, maybe even a comment that somebody in the audience might have made to the person sitting next to him. But it's sort of like taking the totality of the moment and not saying my role is only this, their role is only that. Those two roles are separate. They can never join. And that's what busking teaches you, is like, there's no fourth wall. It's everybody's together. We're experiencing this together. You know, you give me energy, I give you energy. It comes back. Let's do this. You know?
What are some of your favorite performances? Do you have any particular ones that are memorable to you that you feel like, yeah.
You mean my personal performances?
Yeah. We can circle back.
Yeah, well, you've got a song there in your bag that you might play later. It's called "Too White," and it's a pseudo rap song. It's like, you know, I'm not a rapper. I know I'm not a rapper, but I wrote a song about not being a rapper. You know, and every time I perform that song, I've gotten a really positive response, because people realize it's tongue in cheek and it's supposed to be funny. It's a parody, essentially, a parody of myself, you know. And that's cool. I enjoy performing that song. I've had you know, a lot of positive responses. Another song that you don't have loaded that I was shocked when somebody came up and told me how much they liked it was a song called "Dead Cat." I was walking. I was out on a walk in the morning one day, and yeah, you know this. And I came across this cat that was just laying on the lawn, and I thought it was sleeping out there, right? It was early in the morning, and the cat was dead. And so I went home and wrote a song about it called "Dead Cat." And it's a jazz song, essentially, is what it is, you know, and it's just out there. It's way out there, you know.
And then somebody come and tell you, oh, it looks like I lost you for a second. Okay.
Yeah, that was me. I accidentally hit my USB.
Okay.
And so this woman comes up to me. I'm there that night, and she comes up to me before I've gone on stage at an open mic, and she says, "Oh, you're here." Yes, I'm here. You know, I don't know who she is. And she says, "Oh, I brought my husband with me." Okay. Now, remember, I don't have a band. I'm just some crazy old songwriter guy that goes to open mics. That's all I am. You know, I don't have a following. I don't have a fan base. She says, "Oh, are you going to do Dead Cat?" I said, "What?" She said, "Are you going to do Dead Cat?" I said, "You know Dead Cat?" She said, "Yeah, it's my favorite song." I thought, oh my God, Dead Cat connected with somebody? I can't believe it. Because most people, if they're just a cat lover, it's like, oh, it's a dead cat. It's so sad. But she loved Dead Cat. So I changed the song I was going to sing that night, and I sang Dead Cat. You never know, man. You never.
Yeah. You just can't predict what. Like,
so Dead Cat was cool. Yeah. I also did a performance one time. I was featuring at an open mic at Rebel Bite, which is no longer existent. Shy But Fly was the host.
Nice. And
I put together a band for that. And we did Alley Cats, which, you know, I'm writing songs about cats and I don't even like cats, you know. But it's Alley Cats, and it's about, you know, casual sex is what it ends up being. You know, people acting like they're alley cats, got no morals, out there picking each other up and having sex in the alley. And we did that, and so I had come up with this little dance that you were talking about stage theatrics. I came up with this little dance that looked like cats dancing, and I went out into the audience and I was doing the dance, and there were a bunch of comedians there that night, you know, at the open mic, and everybody got behind me in a conga line, and we're doing, you know, Alley Cat. You were doing this song, Alley Cat, you know, and I'm walking through, and they're all following me, and they're all singing it, and the band's playing. It's like that was a nice, because I didn't see that coming, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a trip. That's really fun to think of all the comedians, because I know some of those comedians too, and just,
there's a lot of people were there that night.
Yeah, that's great. And then the dead cat on the lawn. That is like that's one of those things like you couldn't have ever, like, if you imagined that you could have been in like 1,000 universes, that never would have happened, right? I mean, nothing against like the song. It's an interesting song, but it's definitely
it makes no sense. It makes no sense. Right. That song that she would request it, and she was even excited about it. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But you experience that all the time. You go out when you're singing your originals, people realize, holy cow, this guy not only can sing and play well, he writes great songs, you know. And then they get your album, they realize, oh, he writes a lot of great songs. Yeah. You know, people discover that and they experience that. And that's the joy, I think, of songwriting, you know, to be able to create your own material and to pass it along to people and to see them react to it in positive ways.
Yeah. I'm hitting like a stage where I've been playing. It's weird. Like I've been playing originals, or I've been playing songs, so much for so long at this point that you kind of don't relate to them the same way anymore. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah, you're right.
it's more like it is a framework, and even my own songs, I kind of look at them as that more. It's like, okay, this is a tool. It's a tool. I've got this tool. This is kind of the vein that it's in. It kind of
Yes.
has this emotion, and so if I see the right opportunity for that, maybe I'll do that one. But it's not like I'm feeling so, overwhelmed with emotion. I have to do this song. I'm just, I'm so sad about this, and I
Yeah,
need to
we've talked
express it.
about that before. Is how do
Yeah,
you get back in touch with the original emotion that
yeah,
underpinned the writing of the song?
yeah,
And I just recently performed a song that was the first time I performed it. I cried. A song I wrote. It
yeah.
was about a friend of mine who committed suicide. And you did the demo for it. It's called Better This Way. Um, and that's actually on my Facebook page, that performance. Um, and so the difference is now, 7 or 8 years later, after I wrote it, is when I perform it, I don't struggle, controlling my emotions. I can sing it without crying. It still affects me, and I can still tap into the original intent behind the song. But it's inevitable that it's going to change if there's time has passed and you performed the song a number of times. But you just have to never lose focus, and to try as best you can to reconnect with the emotional underpinning of the
Yeah.
song. When you do Big Picture, right? And I know, Big Picture probably had an emotional underpinning when you first
Yeah.
wrote it. But Big Picture is just a great song. And those notes you hit on, Big Picture, got it. That is just so powerful. I still get chills when I hear that song, man. I got chills the first time you played it, that I heard it, and I was like, damn, that's a great song. Yeah. And so I think the songs themselves will carry you through it, if you let the song carry you. It's almost like you're not really singing the song. The song is using you to sing it. And I think you have to
Yeah,
always
yeah.
focus on that, even though you've done the song 100 times. You've got to be able to find something there that still pushes you to put out the 110% on that
Yeah.
song.
So like I'm reaching a point where like I can push if I'm gonna do big picture. I can I
Right.
know it like the back of my hand. I can push out
Right.
to 110%, but I'm not necessarily
Yes.
always connected. Like my life isn't exactly that. What
Yeah.
it was when I made that song. It's pretty different now, and my
Right.
priorities are different, or just my mode of being is maybe different, and also I'm pursuing music more as a way to put food on the table, and so I'm more thinking of it from that perspective of like, what do I need to do
Sure.
to get the job security or get another gig to make sure people are taken care of. It's a really good way to think about things, because it does make you way more conscientious of everyone that's there, and so you're not just thinking about,
Yeah.
I gotta emote and make sure that you're thinking about, okay, no, if I'm being too loud, I need to be aware of that, because that's impacting these people negatively, and so I need to make sure that there's pleasing sounds going to their ears, so that they're having a good time, because their experience of the event.
You're aware of the big picture, man. Yeah, that's
So
it.
that's how I can
But
connect to
what
it.
what
But
you're also pointing
yep,
out is you're talking about interpret. You're basically, when you sing your own original years later, let's say, you're covering yourself. You're doing a
yes,
cover of your
yes,
original. Think of it
yes,
that way. And so whatever applied when you wrote it, you're saying doesn't apply anymore. I agree with that. But you approach it as if you were doing a cover of somebody else's song. You're saying, okay, what's my entry point for this song? How can I relate to this song? And it may be, and that's the beauty of songwriting, particularly if you write with ambiguous lyrics, is people can interpret them the way they want to
yeah,
interpret them. And it's okay if, the big picture, the metaphor means something different to you now than it did then. It still means something to you. And so when you hit those big notes, you putting something behind it that's based on big picture. I got to feed my family, big picture.
yeah. No, you find different ways to relate to it, but I think what I'm maybe coming full circle about, because at the beginning it was like super easy when I first started. Even if I wasn't as good as I am now, it was really easy to connect with people, because I was so emotionally into the music that it was just everything was colored by that, or like my every bit of my expression and all that. But eventually, when you do something so many times and it becomes routine or more routine, you can't get to that place every single gig. It's just like it's not gonna be that way. But what maybe you can do is have a disposition of you want to be there to be a positive, effect or be a positive impact on it as many people as you can be in whatever way they need you to be. And you're literally there to serve, and you just try to express the song to the best of your ability, and then look for how you feel like it's impacting people, and then offer them more of that. Try to give them something,
Right.
because you can't tap in. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you can find new ways. I think that's maybe the purpose of writing new songs to a degree, is to as you change, you find new ways. But even the same, like great songs, it can maybe be with you. Well, there's different types of great songs, but I say there's a certain category of great song that you can relate to for long stretches of time. It's applicable through every stage of your life, and it relates to you in a new way.
I'll give you an example. I'm not a big Elton John fan, but Bernie Taupin was his lyricist, right? And don't get me started about lyricists, but anyway, Bernie Taupin wrote the lyrics to the song. You know that song?
Which one?
It's a little bit funny, this feeling inside. I sat on the roof and all that stuff, So he's talking about writing a song for a person. So he's really talking about his process, In this case, he sat on a roof, and that's when it came to him, and that's when he wrote it, and he was having trouble with the verse, and so on and so forth. So that song is kind of self-serving, but that's a great song, and it holds up well. And I think it's easy for a songwriter to do a cover of that because you can relate to his process, that was his process. I understand that, and ultimately he was writing a song to a woman. I can't remember what color your eyes are, but the thing is, it's very conversational too, that particular set of lyrics. I like conversational lyrics. And so I think, it had its beginning, and whatever Elton John was interpreting it to be. I mean, it's funny he's singing a song about writing a song that he didn't really write. He wrote the melody, but he didn't write the lyrics. It's kind of funny when you think about it. It's like Hal David and Burt Bacharach. Hal David was Burt Bacharach's lyricist, right? So everybody talks about, that's a all the Dionne Warwick songs. Oh, that's a Burt Bacharach song. No, that's a Hal David song. If you're a songwriter, it's like, no, that's a Hal David song, because do you know the way to San Jose? I've been away so long, I might get lost and lose my way. That's why people remember the song, is do you know the way to San Jose, and all the stars that never were are parking cars and pumping gas. Hollywood, that's LA, man. He nailed it in that line right there. All the stars who never were are parking cars and pumping gas. That's the reality of people who come to LA seeking fame. You end up parking cars and pumping gas and then going back, and that's a great song,
Yeah.
Anyway, it's the lyrics that make the song great. That's all I'll say.
Well, let's play another.
Yeah,
song
I
here.
got a set of lyrics. I got a special request from one of Nathan's biggest fans.
Yeah.
Can you play Too White?
Yeah,
which is all about the lyric.
Let me pull it up here. I didn't cue it up, but
I sent him an MP3 of this in an email. So hopefully rap song, and it's done. Who's a rapper, happens to be a Caucasian rapper out here in Long Beach. He's probably insulted by the lyrics, but he helped me out with this. He built the track, and he also did some singing in the background, and we pulled some effects and stuff. So it's supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be fun, and it's about rapping. And it's got nothing to do with anybody but me, but we'll see.
Pull it up here. Almost got it.
All right.
Almost
got it.
Desktop.
All right.
And we're gonna go.
All you go through to make this happen, Noah. I know that this is a technological challenge ongoing, and it's great, like you say, that we can be on opposite sides of the country and doing this simultaneously. It's really cool.
All right.
Got a care in the world, ain't got a care in the world. Love being square
a little
in the
bit.
world, cause that's how I fit in the world. I'm not a player, I'm not a thug. Never been in jail, so they don't have a mug shot of me or a fingerprint. I'm the one who earned the money I spent. Not from the ghetto, from the cul-de-sac. Never done a stick up, hey, ain't nobody got my back. Still use words like cool and nifty. When the sun comes out, my SPF is 50. Too white to rap. Too white to rap. Yeah, it always comes out stupid and it sounds like crap. Too white. Drive a stripped down Camry cause the mileage is good and the white paint job fits my neighborhood. Working 9 to 5 just to stay alive. Yeah, waiting for the donuts to finally arrive. Date a woman at work, but we keep it down low. Watch Netflix at night and we're taking it slow. Word to my missy, hey, who called me sissy? Just because a man can't rap, why are you so pissy? Too white to rap. Too white to rap. Yeah, my middle class childhood is my handicap. Too white. Why you wanna hate? Give a brother love. Show me that my rapping skills you can rise above. Why you wanna hate? Give a man respect. I can't help it if I'm not politically correct. I don't go clubbing, but I'm not flubbing on my child support or the basketball court where I can drain a three. If they could only see my skills on display, but they won't let me play. Hell, maybe I should sing some oldies tunes about falling in love underneath the moon, cause there ain't no power. I wanna fight, yeah, life is pretty good when you're too white to rap. Too white to rap. Yeah, my middle class childhood is my handicap. Too white. Ain't got a care in the world. Ain't got a care in the world. Love being square in the world. Yeah, that's how I fit in the world. Oh, I'm so white. Yeah, I reflect the light. Ain't it beautiful? Oh, I'm so white. Yeah, I reflect the light.
All right.
All right.
So can I make a couple
Yeah,
of quick
go for it.
comments about that
Yeah,
song? So the preface, and I think I tag it at the end. Ain't got a care in the world. Ain't got a care in the world. Love being square in the world, cause that's how I fit in the world. You know, I think a lot of people don't let themselves be themselves. They're trying to be something else, you know. And I think it's important that artists, I've had many conversations about authenticity, you know, and authenticity can be something as literal and as extreme as, well, you can't really write a song about something you haven't lived. And you and I used to sort of discuss that vigorously. But authenticity is also about, you know, your legitimate voice, your legitimate sound, your legitimate style, you know. And I just saw this movie, Elvis, right? And you know, so it's a docudrama essentially. So you don't know how much of it is actually true, but you know, here's Elvis, early Elvis, you know, wearing all these flashy clothes, and when he gets on stage that nobody else is doing, and that, you know, he was being himself. And at some critical point in the movie, he goes against his manager Tom Parker and won't do a Christmas song that Tom Parker was making him do. And he goes out there and he does something else, you know, because that was who Elvis, really was. He didn't want to be this other thing that the manager was trying to make him be, or that the public in some sections was trying to make him be. I think it's really important for an artist to figure out, who am I? What's my voice? You know, what's my style? What's my look? Whatever. Those are all acts of creativity. You create who you are. Yeah, you know, you are who you are from your heredity and your upbringing, but at some point you get to like add on to that and become who you want to be, or who you really are. And then the truer you are to yourself, I mean, it shows in what you do, in your performances and your songwriting. And I think that's really important. The other thing I'll say about that song, because it's just supposed to be fun, it's, you know, it's not that deep, but I go, not from the ghetto, from the cul-de-sac, never done a stick up, hey, ain't nobody got my back. And Buck Bowen and I fought about that line because it didn't fit the meter of the song. Not from the ghetto, from the cul-de-sac. Oh, wait. not from the ghetto, from the cul-de-sac. Never done a stick up. Hey, ain't nobody got you. It won't fit.
Right,
It just
right.
doesn't fit the meter.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say that, and it's like, no, we're gonna do this, and I'll make it fit somehow. Not from the ghetto, from the cul-de-sac. Never done a stick up. Hey, ain't nobody got my back. Still use words like. And so that's the way I did it. It was an aside. It's what we were talking about earlier in our conversation. I threw in an aside. It just happened to be over the top of a line, you know. And I think, that's not correct. You know, a jazz band players is like, whoa, man, that's wrong, man. Oh, you got to change that. No, I'm not going to change that. That's who I am. That's what I want to say right now during this song. And I'm not going to make it fit just so you feel better and comfortable, you know?
Yeah.
And so, they say when you're a singer and you're singing with the band's supposed to follow the singer, but you'll be singing in front of some bands and they like want to force you into their arrangement. It's like, no, you got to go with me right now. Yeah. You know, maybe I'm going to do something completely off the script. Maybe I'm going to squeeze it in. I'm going to push my phrases. I'm going to pull my phrases. Don't panic, you know. Yeah. I'll get back to where we're supposed to be, but you got to let me flow like that because that's what I'm feeling right now while I'm performing.
Yeah. Man, I'm blanking out. I think I drank a little bit this beer. I don't drink very often at all. And,
what kind of beer is that?
It's a Guinness.
Okay.
I don't know.
Is it dark beer?
Is it? I don't know. Maybe somebody out there can tell me. It's like a
Guinness stout is dark.
It's a stout.
Yeah, that's a Jamaican. They drink that down. The reggae guys drink that down in Jamaica.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, that's a favorite drink. Guinness.
Okay, can you say the end of? I know this is like pretty. Well, can you say the end of what you just said again? There was something that I was tapping onto that I wanted to follow up on it, and then it just left me.
I talked about being true to yourself, and then also when you're singing, a band wanting you to conform to their expectations rather than following your lead as a singer or a front man.
What I was going to say is
your own band is fighting you. You know, I mean,
is it that's kind of to an extent maybe what practice is like.
Sure.
You find. What I've found to be when I'm learning a new song or writing a new song, part of it is just doing it enough times that you find good ways where you feel that you're expressing yourself properly. You know what I mean? Like where nothing feels like you're expressing something that you wouldn't really stand behind. Once you've got all the different sound, you know, you've figured out how you can make sounds that it feels like you're really expressing yourself well. Then you're ready. You're really ready. Right? How does that strike you? Does that sound?
Yeah, I'll give you another example. It's going to come from out of left field here. There's a song by Hank Williams, which is a country classic called "Hey Good Looking." You used to sing it with Robbie and me, right? Hey, good looking, what you got cooking? How's about cooking something up with me? I said, hey, sweet baby. Now, the way I sing that is the way you just heard it. I mean, to me, if you're going to sing that song, it's got to sound country. It's got to sound Southern, really. You know, it's got to be a little bit of accent in the way you. Hey, good looking, good looking, good look. It's not hey, good looking. It's hey, good looking.
Yeah.
But I know I won't name any names here, but I know a small group that sings that song, and every time I hear them sing that song, it drives me up the wall because they don't get it. They just don't get the song. You know, it's like it's a fun that has its roots not in Southern California. You know, you got to like shift gears for this one. You know, I know exactly. The lyric is I'm going to throw my date book over the fence. Well, the way you sing that is I'm going to throw my date book over the fence. Buy me one for 5 or 10 cents. I'll keep it till it's covered with age because I'm writing your name down on every, and you get theatrical at that point because I'm writing your name. Yeah, that's a line you can emphasize theatrically, but that is right over their head.
I know.
Hope they're not watching this.
Exactly who you're talking about, and
you know what I'm talking about.
And they won't do it any other way, though. I think I see. I think you have it so strong in your head. The way this is one of those things which
I'm very opinionated
you're very
on this. I'm telling you.
And maybe other ones too, but this one. But you're doing I think you're doing what you would say other people. What we literally covered earlier in this podcast, where you were saying that. You can perform it which way you want, but not this song, not for you.
No, you're right. But let me clarify. There's, let's say there's 100 different ways to perform whatever song. And there was the original way that whoever performed it performed it. There are other good options, good choices one can make. And then there's like mediocre choices, or like lousy choices. Yeah. And I'm just saying that when people go in to interpret a song, their own or somebody else's song, is they really need to think about why they're doing what they're doing, and whether it's really working. God knows these days you can record yourself and to include visuals. You should like critique yourself and say, this just doesn't feel right. This just doesn't look right. I'm not really sure I'm got it yet, And then you figure out who's the character. That I should say that. Please, everybody who's performing songs and singing lyrics, you have to assume the character that the lyrics define. And in that case, back to my point, that character is a guy that drives a pickup truck. Right? It also is a guy that drove a pickup truck back in the 40s, the 1940s. So that's who you're singing about, and that's who's singing that song,
What if he's driving a pickup in Hawaii?
No,
he doesn't drive.
He wouldn't have gone down and spent $2 and been able to buy drinks and have everything. No, that wouldn't have happened in Hawaii, man. But you know what I'm saying? Maybe in Tennessee.
I think.
But yeah,
for the performers or the performers that you're thinking or that you're talking about, they kind of have a certain mode, and I don't think they'd be able to do it any other way. You know what I mean? Like they've kind of got that's the same way the way they move through that song. They do that with every single song. You know?
No,
what I mean?
it's a process that repeats. But I'm just saying to encourage anybody out there who's either singing covers and or originals is to really think through about the song you're singing and what the lyrics mean, who the character is that's singing it. Stand By Your Man. I've sung that. It's a Tammy Wynette song, but a guy can sing it. I sang at a karaoke. I've sang it more than once, but I sang it this past week. I sang "Girls Just Want to Have Fun" by Cyndi Lauper, right? And so somebody who's not really paying attention to what's going on might say, "Oh man, you shouldn't be singing that song." I changed the lyrics so I'm not like a narrator talking about this girl who comes home and her father says, "You got to change your life. You got to live your life right." And her mother's giving her criticism and she's just saying, "But girls just want to have fun, right?" So the interesting thing about that song is a guy wrote that song. A guy wrote that song. And she discovered the song, Cyndi Lauper, and then she, made some slight adaptations of it, and then she had the big hit. So everybody assumes Cyndi Lauper wrote that whole song. She didn't. So, I think guys have freedom to sing songs that women sing. I think you should change the lyric to, fit your gender. Let's don't get into that discussion. But anyway, who's the character and what are they singing about? What's the song about? God, please pay attention to what the lyrics are in a song. Yeah. I think a lot of singers, performers don't pay any attention to the lyrics. I've had musicians tell me they're not even interested in the lyrics. They think they're things that get away, get in the way. It's like, no, lyrics are really important.
I change, if a song was written from a female perspective,
right?
Or there's a number of songs that I do where I'll change it. Sometimes I leave it. Sometimes it's kind of weird to change it. Sometimes it's like it's so.
Yeah, you gotta pick and choose.
And it's like, okay, I'm not really singing. It becomes, if I'm calling myself a female or something, it becomes, the listener knows that I'm not singing the song about myself. Right. It's more I'm just doing an ode to the song and saying this is a song we all know and love, and I'm showing respect to the song or something. That's more what it becomes.
Yeah.
Let's play another song or two. I'll just name out the ones that I've got. Queued up.
I'll tell you which one I'd like to hear next. I already know. I like to do "Hey Frenchie," which is one that you and I did together. Could you bring that up?
I can't because I could bring it up. I downloaded.
Are you in the MP3 right now?
Videos of Rats and "You Know My Name," and then I didn't get.
Oh, it's Rats. Okay, well, Rats is good.
You want to get the what thing? Is that?
Yeah. Let's do Rats.
Okay, here we go. We got.
So this is an ad lib that Noah did during the recording of this.
Rats doesn't have it. Hey Frenchie's the one that has that.
Oh, it's the other one. You're right.
But you can check it out on his YouTube channel. So search Nathan Douglas. Is it just Nathan Douglas on YouTube?
Yeah. I think the easiest way for everybody, if they're really interested in following up, is going to my website, nathandouglasgo.com. Click on songs, and most all of the songs that I've done demos are there. And if you scroll to the bottom, nathandouglasgo.com songs, all the way at the bottom is a link to a YouTube channel. And there's another 30 plus songs over there.
This one's called Rats. And I got to do some of
the
guitar work on this one.
All right. Hey, everybody, it's Nate again. Today I'm joined by Noah. Yeah, fresh face. We're going to do a brand new song I wrote called Rats, but you know what? It's not really about rats, Noah. It's a metaphor. So that means it's about something else. So you need to figure out what it's about, because I ain't going to tell you. Let's do it. Just ask the rats, they'll tell you where the best garbage is anywhere, 'cause rats always know the best place to go. Just ask the rats, they'll tell you so. Just ask the rats, then hear them scat. Rat-a-tat, rat-a-tat, tat-tat-tat. Just ask the rats, they will tell you where it's at. Just ask the rats, they'll let you know the dirtiest stuff and where to go, 'cause rats always find the smelliest kind of garbage there is left behind. Just ask the rats, then hear them scat. Here it comes. Rat-a-tat, rat-a-tat, tat-tat-tat. Just ask the rats, they will tell you where it's at. Yeah, rats, they find all that's rotten, all that should be trash. Well, rats are always looking for it. Rats, they love that trash. Just ask the rats, then hear them scat. Rat-a-tat, rat-a-tat, tat-tat-tat. Just ask the rats, they will tell you where it's at. Rat-a-tat, rat-a-tat, tat-tat-tat. Yeah. Yeah, come and see me at nathandouglasgo.com. I'll be waiting for you. Solid.
Right on. Rat-a-tat, rat-a-tat.
So I want to take this opportunity to give you a shout out. You know, you and I have worked together for years, and our process is I bring in a lyric sheet that has the melody notes annotated and the basic chords, and then you and I start playing. You start playing it on the guitar, and I start singing along, and then we come up with an arrangement. And you're very creative, and you're very skilled. And that process for us generally takes, to figure out the arrangement, 20 to 30 minutes. And at that point, we start recording. And then, we usually are able to record it within the next hour. And that is unusual. And I just would say to anybody out there that wants to record their songs, go to Noah, because he can do all you need to get done. Plus, he's very creative, and he can make your song better than it was when it came in the door.
Record at the Grove.
At the Grove, man. Much respect to you. And you're an all genre guy too. I mean, you've done one of the ones I was going to send you was Future Girl.
Yeah.
But we've done disco stuff and really out there stuff. That doesn't even have a genre. Emilio was about a guy who had a cable access show, and we came up with all kinds of like carnival sounds and stuff to make it sound like it was really hokey. And there's just so many examples. I encourage everybody to go check out at the website, nathandouglasgo.com, and see all of these things that Noah has helped me create. And it's just amazing what you're able to do. You're a quick study, man. And of course, you and I have been doing this so long. We're like a married couple. We can read each other's thoughts, and that certainly helps. But yeah, from the get-go, I mean, even early on when we were just starting out, it was clear to me that we were on the same wavelength, and I appreciate that.
We should also throw a shout out to Eddie Booz, who did
Eddie Booz.
Videos, those two videos that we've shown were filmed at Eddie Booz's studio.
That's right.
So he's still in Long. I know he went to like the Midwest or something.
I think he's in both places, but he's still in Lakewood. And Eddie is also very highly skilled, very creative. And yeah, I've done a lot of demos with Eddie as well. So I think it's good. It's good for people to work with different people because it gives them another perspective on what it is they're doing. And generally speaking, if you're with competent people, they will make you better.
You also get different
You know,
sounds. Like recently,
yes,
we worked on Steel Beach Postcard, which is Nathan's
right.
latest album, and it was kind of there it is. Check it out. Yeah. So this is kind of like I think in your words, your love letter to Steel Beach, or
Yes, it is.
to sort of to Long Beach, sort of to the area overall. No,
Yeah,
but
yeah, it's
particularly
inclusive.
to Steel Beach. And I got to do the mastering for this project, and it involved a number of different songs that came from different engineers and different studios. And you notice too, like when you work with different engineers, everyone kind of has a sound, and they sort of create a certain. You tend to get the same result, which is kind of actually that could be a sign, at least of some kind of good quality of a studio, that they have a consistent result. But I think like people,
Yeah,
just like you sort of create, as a songwriter or as an instrumentalist or musician, you kind of over time find your sound. You create it. It's just
hmm
you try to create what you like, and then you get this sort of consistent result. The same thing happens with engineering and recording, and so that is maybe
right.
to tag on to your point of working with other studios, is you might find that they produce and they achieve a sound that's more fitting for what you're doing, because they flavor it. They flavor it a little bit. Whatever studio you work with, it has a little bit of their own flavoring in terms of the frequencies they
Well, can
choose.
we talk a couple of horror
Yeah,
stories
we can
about
do that.
studios while we're
Sure.
here?
Horror story time.
I'll tell one and you tell the
Okay.
other. Okay. So I go into this studio with a sound engineer who's shall remain nameless, definitely technically skilled, and we record this song. And I had hired a bunch of musicians to come in. It's the most expensive demo I ever did. We won't say how much it was, but it was a lot of money. And I included two female backup singers. And so, everybody, we've recorded it. We've got all the tracks laid down and we're mixing it, right? So we're sitting there mixing this thing. And I realized that he's got it, the sound engineer's got it mixed to, his satisfaction. And so I said to him, I said, I can't hear the female background
Yeah.
singers. And he goes like, what? Like, I can't hear the female background singers. You need to bring them up in the mix. And he begrudgingly did it. And I'm thinking, I'm not a sound engineer. I haven't gone through all of what he went through, including schooling and experience, but that's like 101 level stuff. Why do you think I have background singers and I'm not going to hear them? Are you nuts? Now you tell your story.
Like of any recording.
I like the story about you had finished the album and something happened.
Yeah. Well.
Shall remain nameless.
Yeah. Just that. There was a technical issue with the memory or with the computer that caused the loss of everything. Yeah. So that was pretty bad.
So he's being very polite, folks. That was pilot era.
Well, I don't know.
Made a mistake there.
I think it was one of those things that it can't really, like, you can't really control whether or not your computer freezes. It just I mean, you can.
No, well, here's the point I would make, and yeah, we should be careful what we say here because it could be interpreted as slander. But it seems to me, again, I'm not a professional sound engineer, but it seems to me as you finish a song, you should save that song somewhere external to the computer. And you should do that each time you finish a song. And then, so yeah, if at some point when you've already got 20 songs in the can and all of a sudden you haven't saved any of them and the computer crashes and you've lost, a week or two worth of work.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point.
So I guess, yeah. So that's what I would advise people. When you go in there to a system, don't be intimidated to a studio. Yeah. Don't be intimidated by, the producer or the sound engineer. Keep your thinking cap on and always be sure that they're saving stuff and that they're giving you the sound you want, not the sound they want.
Good advice. I think I'll throw out too. I mean that experience for me shifted me into being more focused on doing my own recording because I just
Right.
thought you can invest a lot of money and it can really not work out. And so
Right.
I started just focusing more on my own recording. And what I found, like, you don't like for most people that if you're a new artist or you're wanting to get into it or whatever, it's not like you have to have the best recording that ever was. Like most of the people, most of your
Right.
friends and family or whatever that are listening, they're not going to be judging it based on like, oh, the high end is so crystal clear. It's like they're gonna, it's just they're just not. So that it's not.
It's
It's
technically
technically, yeah,
perfect.
and I think you can achieve a lot with not a with you can achieve a lot with not a lot. Like you don't. If you buy a Macintosh computer, it comes with GarageBand. GarageBand works. Like you don't need to get anything other than
Yep.
GarageBand. I use Logic
Particularly
Pro.
if you're just a singer
Yeah,
songwriter playing acoustic
yeah.
guitar and that's your
You
basic
can get
sound, you don't need
you
a whole lot of
don't
frills.
you can get a really solid recording. Hell, I just recorded for a client that hired me to produce lyrics that she wrote for her book. She hired me to produce the lyrics into a song, and I sent her a recording. I played this. I figured out an arrangement, played it through 7 times. The seventh one, I recorded all the takes on my iPhone, just sitting in front of me, and then I sent her to the seventh one just to kind of give her an example of, okay, this is the direction I'm heading. Do you want to still work with me? Is this something?
Right.
Figuring, she wouldn't want to use the iPhone recording. She loved it. It's like the iPhone recording was pretty clear. It's like, okay, it's not perfect. It's not like it was a little I don't know, like sharp, a little bit sharp, but not that bad where it's like making you want to not listen to it. It's just a little bit sharp. And so it's workable. And it actually ended up it got a certain sound that for her, it made her feel like she was in the room listening to that, which really fit
Right.
the scene. Because the scene was a boyfriend like in the bedroom, sitting on the bed playing his guitar and singing to the girl. And
Sure.
then, so this iPhone recording made it feel like maybe that's literally what you got. The iPhone was there and in the room, and it captured the recording, and
Yeah.
so she loved
It's
it. And so I ended
ambiance.
up doing a higher ended or I used my studio gear with my nice microphone and nice guitar to actually capture really clean, clear audio, new rendition of it. And she almost, I mean, I think she didn't say this, but I think she preferred the iPhone version. And so I ended up
Yeah, she
sending
might have.
her both because we clearly she wanted both. So
Yeah.
I just think that that goes to show that you don't need all that. You can learn. Shout out to Tremaine Taylor, who's producing his own on content here locally. He's an
All
R&B
right.
singer, kind of retro. And he's getting some nice clean mixes on not like he's not got just swimming in state of the art gear, so you can do it yourself. And I guess I'm kind of vamping on this or venting on this because I just saw an engineer locally here post on Facebook or something that he said, "Don't record yourself," and he had some complaint about that people recording themselves make this stupid mistake or silly mistake, and he said, "Get a pro to do it." And I'm like, okay, I just think that's the wrong advice. You can do it yourself. If you really want to work with somebody like that, I think spend some time getting to know them, do your research. I think you really got to know that they're going to do a great job. They're going to be focused. It's got a place, but you can do it yourself, and you can get a really usable result yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think we ought to talk about something here. This is really important. I mean, we all have to decide what is it we're doing and why are we doing, and if there is an end game, what is the end game? And I would guess that most people would love the end game to be, oh, I'm going to become famous and successful and known all over the world, and my songs will be sung and heard all over the world. And that's great, but what if that doesn't happen? Because yeah, the odds are that's probably not going to happen. But what if that doesn't happen? What would be success? How can you define success at a level less than that? And what is that level? And I think that that's an important thing for people to realize. For me, being a retired guy, and coming to this late in the game, is I don't have any of those kind of really high aspirations. Yes, I'd like for at least one of my songs to be recorded commercially and for it to become a hit. That would be great, but the odds are that's not going to happen. But that doesn't mean that I should stop writing songs or stop producing demos or stop performing songs or other things, because it brings me joy. And then I see in an audience that I'm bringing them joy. And there's a lot to be said for spreading joy through music, my philosophy. There's a lot to be said for that. And that's, in the case of having to feed your family, you're a successful gigging musician where you are. That's pretty damn good, to be able to be making a living as a musician. And yeah, if something else comes, that would be great. But, be satisfied with where you are and what you've got. And then to say to somebody, okay, you got to save up 10, 20, $30,000 and come into a Hollywood studio to produce your song so that it is ready for the radio or whatever they call it now. And then the odds are it's not going to go anywhere anyway, and now you're 20 or $30,000 in the hole. Whereas if you record it at a lower level, whether that's, in somebody's garage studio or whatever, or you record it yourself, get it out, get a version of it. Because if you get picked up by some big entity, you get picked up by some big entity, they're going to take you into the studio and re-record it anyway.
Then you can, when you have that support behind you, then you can do it, and fine. And then there's a reason to do it too, because they're going to put your name on the billboards or whatever, and they're going to connect you.
Yes.
So that game plan's already in effect. But for now, it's like you have your audience can't finance that probably. So it's like, and they're probably not going to. And it's just not, and it's not necessary. And also, I think one thing I agree on is performance trumps the recording. Like the right?
Thank you.
The performance is way more important, and I think that's very clear. If you go back and any good music, it has so much to do with the performance. And I think also people can recognize it. Like if they hear something that communicates to them because of how authentically it's communicated and just the truth that exists, that it reveals, those sounds, whatever it is that shows truth that's being expressed, that is relatable. It doesn't need to be hi-fi, like clear as crystal for people to understand.
I'm going to give you an example that's going to get me into big trouble. But I believe in being honest with people and trying to help people get to where they need to get with little pieces of information that might be useful. On this CD that we did, Noah did not record and produce the track I'm going to talk about. But there's a song that was sung by my buddy Robbie. You saw him on the You Know My Name video earlier tonight. So Robbie sings this song, and I wrote this song about his father. Robbie told me a very touching story, which I can't relate, about his father. And so I wrote this song. It's called Not Perfect, Not Perfect. Why don't you love me? Why don't you love me? It's not my fault that I'm not perfect. So let's just suffice to say his father wasn't really loved by his father. And then, as I wrote the song, later I realized, well, it was also about my upbringing. And it was a lot about Robbie's life, too. And so it had more of a universal appeal. So it's like, Robbie's got to sing this song because it's about his dad. And, and I can relate to it. He can relate to it. So he sings this song. We record it. And then after we record it, we're going through the process that is prevalent. And we reach a moment where it's time to melodyne, which is equivalent of auto-tune, but in a different way. We're going to we're ready to melodyne, Not Perfect. And I remember saying, I don't want to melodyne. And, it was like, why don't you want to melodyne it? That's the way it's done. That's the way it's done in Hollywood. That's the way everybody does it these days. Why don't you want to do it? And I said quite succinctly, because the song is called Not Perfect. I don't want it to be perfect. And it gets back to what your lady might have decided about the smartphone recording versus the more slick recording. It's like, it doesn't matter to me what somebody else thinks. I like this. I'm the client, by the way, and I'm going to go with this because it connects with me better. Like you say, it feels like the guy's sitting on the bed with the guitar. And for me, Not Perfect, if you make the voice perfect, because none of us really sing perfect. Everybody gets melodyned or auto-tuned nowadays. And at some point, it's like you're creating this like unreal thing, that's not the way the people really sound it, Yeah. So again, I'll get in trouble for saying that, but again, speak up when you're in your own session. You're paying the bill. If you don't want it to be a certain way, tell them you don't want it to be a certain way and move on.
These days, so I've got. I want to make sure the application just quit out. So I'm just take a second to make sure that.
Well, Noah sang several of the songs that are on this collection that we've been talking about. Seal Beach Postcard. It's not really available yet. I'll put it on my website at some point. But it was. I came down to Charleston. I was living on the East Coast, and I was able to go down and sit with Noah in his studio, and we did whatever it was, 5 or 6 songs, and it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed myself down there. I'm so glad that I got to do that while I was living on the East Coast. And Noah plays piano, folks. He doesn't just play guitar. So you can come in and he can come up with a piano track as well as a guitar track to accompany you.
Yep, I'm learning the piano. Yeah, sorry, the application just quit out, so I wanted to make sure that the stream.
All right,
the stream,
no problem.
For some reason, it just randomly quit. So I just want to make sure the stream's back up.
All right.
I've got loaded Money Machine, Walk With Me, and Gotta Move. Those are the 3 other ones that I've got.
Let's do Gotta Move. This is a song that I wrote about the guy who actually sings it.
Okay.
We'll keep his name out of it for now, but yeah, he was living in his parents' house, and I thought, what would that be like if you lived in your parents' house? So I wrote this song called Gotta Move.
All right, here we go.
I'm back in my parents' house, and I don't want to whine and grouse, but I can't have my lady friends over for the night to spend. Yeah, I'm back in my parents' house. I got no privacy. Everything I do they see, or hear through the walls. I whisper my calls. I'm back in my parents' house. I'm back in my parents' house. I gotta move, I gotta move, gotta get away from here. I gotta move, I gotta move, gotta get my ass in gear. Yeah, gotta get my ass in gear. I'm stuck in my parents' house, being quiet as a mouse, making up my bed, waiting to be fed. I'm stuck in my parents' house. Hey, I'm too old for this. Freedom's what I really miss. But living rent free, well, it works for me. I'm stuck in my parents' house. I'm stuck in my parents' house. I'm on the phone. I'm on the phone. Why won't you leave me alone? I'm on the phone. I'm on the phone. Why won't they leave me alone? Gotta move out. Gotta move out. They're driving me crazy, calling me lazy, telling me what to do. I need a job. I need a place. Hey, can I move in with you? I'm back where I started again, but this time I'm a grown man, sleeping on a twin bed, Transformers bedspread. Back in my parents' house, the pictures on the wall, they're me and I'm so small. My mom and dad don't know that I'm bad. I'm back in my parents' house. I'm back in my parents' house. I gotta move, I gotta move, gotta get away from here. I gotta move, I gotta move.
Gotta move.
Get my ass in gear.
Get my ass in
Gotta
gear.
get my ass in gear.
Gotta get my ass in
Gotta
gear.
move out. Gotta move out. Gotta move out. Gotta move out.
Yeah, I love it.
So I should give a shout out to Eddie Booz, who did the track for that. So he came up with the arrangement and played all the instruments, and he really got that whole funky thing going
that track
there.
is great. He did a great job at that track.
Isn't it? Yeah, Eddie did an excellent job. So much respect to Eddie. Again, he's very talented.
Yeah. And Travis got well, I think Travis is impacted or influenced by Disney songs a lot. I think he likes
Yes,
Disney
he
songs.
is.
And so there's
Yes, he
quite a
does.
bit of theater in how he's performing, and you can see
Yes.
like, and he hit a lot of it really well, like the I'm on the phone. It's like you can really hear it. Like
Why won't you
can
leave
hear
me
it
alone?
like it's really there. I'm on the phone.
Well, I like to think that it was, I really wrote it about his life as I imagined what it must be like living it with your parents, when you're an adult. And yeah, so I think my favorite, I can't remember all the lines anymore, but there's something in there about he's sleeping on the same bed he slept on when he was a kid, and he's got Transformer sheets or something. I like that line.
There's a lot of good stuff in there. All right, well, we're coming up on 2 hours here. We've got like
All right. It's been a quick 2 hours. I appreciate you taking the time to spend with me. I've had a lot of fun.
Thank you for coming on, Nathan. Let's say go to nathandouglasgo.com to check out Nathan's stuff. Let's see. So you put out how many albums now?
I think it's 7 or 8. I can't remember.
So he's got all those songs posted on the website. Maybe aside from
Yeah, with the exception of the Stay at Home, which is one you
Okay.
did 12 songs on. Yeah, that's a masterpiece. Noah did 12 songs that I wrote, and I like to think many of those songs sound like you wrote them yourself, man. They fit you like a glove. So we'll get that up on the website by the end of the year, I guess.
And other than that, I guess if you're in Long Beach and you're watching this, go. It's the street karaoke. Are you still doing that? Like you said, there was.
Yeah, I'm down there. I'll be down there on Sunday nights in Seal Beach. Come on down and sing with me. And if Robbie's not playing, I'll probably be down there on Fridays and Saturdays as well. I was there all 3 nights this past week, and I just don't know what his schedule is. But Sunday night for sure, on Main and Central.
Okay, I'm gonna let us go out on Money Machine. Is that cool? Is that?
Oh, this is the one Schwang
Yeah.
likes. Your wife
Yeah.
likes this one. She said
Yes,
you're a
this is
lot
I'm
like
the
the
Money
character
Machine.
in this song.
Yeah. Here we go. Money Machine.
All right.
Oh, brother, you should see these credit card bills. She buy everything. Why she do this to me? Oh.
She can spend it as fast as you can make it. Gone in the blink of an eye. And you'll be left with empty pockets when she takes it all and says goodbye. 'Cause she's a machine, a money machine. She's a machine, a purchasing fiend. She only happy when she can be seen.
Written about one of my ex-wives.
She's a money machine.
All right, Nate. I'm gonna pull up this our background over the top of us and then
Don't
fade
even
us out.
think that you love
Thank
it.
you for coming on, Nathan. Everybody go check out nathandouglasgo.com.
When she looks at you and calls you
Nice to talk with you today.
She
Glad things are going really well in Seal Beach, man.
She's a machine.
All right.
Money
Thanks,
machine.
Noah. Good night.
She's a machine, a purchasing fiend. She's only happy when she can be seen. Spending your money, she's a money machine.